as we all know, the things are changing very fast. And I see many professionals really struggling in their career. And I thought that, so I do provide my individual one-on-one advice, but there is a limitation for it. So usually it first goes to my paid students who are my regular coaches during the strategic CFO program. But other than that, if anybody make requests, I'll try to accommodate those requests and try to provide my individualized or customized advice to them. But once in a while, I thought that probably this is a better medium to talk a larger group of people in one webinar live, so that I could not only share my advice to them based on the current conditions going on, but also answer their specific questions as much as I could. So I'm sure many of you have attended my previous webinars. I hope they were useful, and I'm sure that this webinar is also going to be pretty useful. So let me see how many people have joined. Okay, we have close to 100 people now. So let me start. Okay. So main agenda for this session is really, I want to give you a career framework. So first of all, let me define who are the audience. And I think most of you fit into that criteria, which I have in my mind. Usually my advice or my talk about the career and profession goes to the mid-career finance professionals. Mid-career means that you have already spent 10, 15, maybe 20 years in your career. Usually you are professionally qualified a chartered accountant, CPA or CMA or any other similar qualifications. And you are ambitious. You want to really make progress in your career. So if you are in the middle of your career, which means that you have made good progress so far, but looks like that for most people, look like that now your career is stagnating. You feel stuck in certain levels or certain positions, and you are wondering that why am I not able to really experience the same level of growth which you have from the early career until this point of time. That is what we are going to address. Now realize that we are talking of the corporate environment. It's a pyramid. Not everybody go on the top, but the issue is, or the challenge is, there are many talented people. When I have spent my life in finance, I could tell you after 5 minutes talk who has the high potential and who is not. And I see many high potential, talented people really struggling. So that is where I really want to give my advice and help as much as I could. So we are going to talk about a career framework, which will give you some clarity, what you need to do and what you don't need to do. In this framework, again, as I said, it's mainly addressed to the mid-career professionals. There might be some people from the early career in this session, and some might be towards the uh, close to retirement or close to end of their career. It may also be relevant to you, but just keep in mind that some of my advice may not be fully applicable to those people, early career or late career. And look, if you are a professional or finance professional or a non-finance professional, but you are somewhere in the middle of your career, middle of your age, I would guess that most of the audience would fit like plus minus 40 years of age, and you have a good qualification. So in finance, the good qualification could be a chartered accountant, CPA, or any professional recognized qualification is a good qualification. Or you could have an academic background like MBA or some master's degree, or in other discipline or other functions, you may have similar qualifications. You just need one good, well-recognized qualification as far as your education is concerned. And if you have that, and with that one education, you have been able to succeed your career until this point, you are good to go. Right in the middle of your career, you don't need to add more degrees and certification. Now, it may help to build up more knowledge, but as you move upward in your career and with your growing age, the law of diminishing returns kicks off, which means that if you did your MBA or CPA or chartered accountancy at the beginning of the career, of course, you are taking a lot of returns and benefit from it. But if you do something right in the middle of your career, you may still get some benefit, but not as much as you would have gotten at the time of your early career. So just keep in mind, again, I'm not discouraging you, I'm not stopping you, I'm just saying that you need to see your opportunity cost, that if you want to do another CPA, another ACCA, another CMA, what is the opportunity cost? What else you could do with that time? What else you could do with that money, with that resources, with that attention, which might give you more benefit than what you are trying to do. So that's the main idea or main messages. So everyone who has a good academic or professional qualification, who has a 10, 15 years of experience, good relevant experience, they have the potential to ultimately land into C-suites. That could be a CFO role, a CMO role, marketing, sales, name it, any function, IT, you have the potential to ultimately reach to the C-suite role. So roles. So that is what my main message is, that there is an opportunity. There is an opportunity, and let's see what we need to do and what we don't need to do to make that opportunity realize for us. So mainly I always talk with reference to the talent market, because that is where the challenge is, that is where the opportunity is. So my sequence of discussion would be, first I will start what has changed or what is changing in the talent market, number one. Number two, how it has impacted your career for most of the people. Then where are the opportunities, or what are the opportunities, and how you can prepare yourself and avail those opportunities. So that's a pretty much of layout or outline for my discussion today. And of course, you can ask any questions related to that. A little bit about the logistics issues items. So I'll try to wrap it up in 90 minutes. It may extend or finish a little earlier, but I want to keep 30 minutes towards the end for question and answer. So that's my intention is. And so during the discussion, you can keep asking questions by writing them in the chat box. The chat box, there are two chat boxes, just be careful. Write down in the Q&A only. If you put your question in the Q&A, the chat board labeled as Q&A, it will be easier for me to pick many questions and answer that. If you have technical issues, I probably cannot be of much help, but what you could do, typical solution is that restart your device if you are having problem. Change the browser. Usually the Google browser works very well. Or change the device. Use a different device, your laptop or your phone or your laptop or desktop, or change the network. Sometimes network has a problem. So try different things. If nothing works out, then ask some other participants, and usually they will be able to help you out to resolve your issue. I will provide you a replay recording and PDF for this, so don't worry about taking notes. Try to understand the message here. That's the main thing is. Because if you really understand what I'm trying to communicate, you probably don't need recording or replay or PDF. But anyway, I will provide that to you. So just try to listen carefully. And as I said, it's a 2-hour session. So I would ask you to be available with your full attention and focus. Don't get distracted, and try to listen towards the end, because I would be sharing many critical items of knowledge and information and advice towards the end of the webinar. So if you miss that part, you'll be missing a lot. So this is what I felt at one point of time in my career, that as if I'm living in a corporate prison. And this is what I see a lot of people, they are literally living in a corporate prison. And they have basically, their identity has become their job. Mainly true for many people at the controller level. And so what the dilemma is, that as you move forward in your career, as you move forward in your family or in your personal life, the challenges get only increasing. So we talk about work-life balance, we talk about work-life integration, a lot of other things, but it remains a dream to be chased. So work and career at is on the one hand, but look at other hand, what is your obligation? So if, as I said, if you are in the middle of your career, not only job or your career, you have parents, you have families, you have a spouse, you have kids, your extended family. Sometimes you have to really support them. You have a social community around you, social obligations. You need to keep a good network. your neighbors, and yourself. As you are growing in your age, you need more and more attention to really take care of yourself. So challenges are only increasing as the time passes. That's a reality. That's actually a brutal reality. Some people are able to handle it well. Most people are really not able to handle that well. So let's talk about the environment first. Of course, work is changing. Everybody recognizes, everybody is aware of this, that work is changing or the work environment is changing. Automation is a big thing, of course, that is impacting many jobs. But other than that, post-COVID, post-pandemic, a lot has changed. Work structures have changed. Working remotely has been accepted as the mainstream. Online has come into the mainstream. There are more people working as freelancers. There are more people offering help, offering expertise as external consultants. So that's quite big change. What you could see in this picture on your screen, that yes, one side is automation, and automation you can't help because that's a reality. You could play in the skills area on the left side. So whatever your position is, see that how could you really make yourself to make an impact in your organizational work environment. So again, skills we talk about with reference to soft skills. Soft skills could be communication, innovation, your leadership skills, your strategic thinking, those type of things. So these are about the roles. Look, after the pandemic, it is acceptable to really, you could be at the core, at the headquarters in the office building as you previously, but there are a lot of remote employees. There are a lot of freelancers. There are a lot of consultants. There are a lot of external resources available. So the composition of the workforce is significantly changing, and that is impacting very significantly on the demand and supply of talent. This chart is for reference, just to develop a perspective that how the change is taking place. So this is a close to 200 years time span, or 165 years precisely. But look how the things have changed over that 165 years of age. So big sector like agriculture, like manufacturing, like other areas, how they have changed over a period of time. As you look from the left side, which is 165 years ago, toward the right side, which is currently, you can see that the speed of change is much faster. And what is lately happening compared to the 100 or 150 years ago, education sector, for example, has expanded significantly. Healthcare has expanded. Telecommunication has expanded. Utilities, professional services. So there is a major shift from the agriculture and manufacturing to the services, right? And for services, you mainly need soft skills predominantly. Not only those technical skills, but soft skills as well. And see yourself, that where do you see yourself in this chart, which sector you are in, and where do you see yourself in 5 years or 10 years, and are you ready for it? Would you survive with those changes? Because changes, if you extend this chart to another 25 or 30 or 50 years, you could see that there are more and more colors and more fluctuations in the size of different sectors. So just be prepared for that. So this is actual information from US Department of Labor, and they do a lot of research, by the way. So their study estimates that up to 65% of the children starting school today will hold a job that does not exist today. Think of this. These kids are already in this world. They're starting school now, but not that they don't know, but experts even don't know what type of job they would be doing. 65% of children, that's very significant. So again, just to keep a perspective that what we are moving into. And these are few facts. I think this is from Deloitte, so quite reliable research. They are saying that 50% of millennials will live to age of 100. Yeah, that's possible because quality of life is changing very fast. And they will have 10 to 12 job changes by the age of 38. So most of you, where you are, like plus minus 40, you would already have 10 to 12 job changes if you are a millennial. And I'm sure many of you have already have not that number, probably multiple job changes. Half life, which is the average life of technical skills, is approximately 2 years. It's reducing. So people ask me that, what if I learn Python? I say definitely it would help you. Today is in demand, but 2 years from now, I don't know whether Python would be there or would there be another language you need to learn. So just be careful that whatever is in demand right now may not last long. Again, I'm not stopping you to learn Python. I'm just saying that be aware that what would be the return on that skill and how quickly that would become obsolete. 37% of working people believe that they will change career within 5 years. People are smart. People are realizing it's not one job for the rest of their life or even one career. People are changing careers. And I'll show you why it is happening. 29% of the companies believe careers in their company are 10 years plus. 44% say less than 5 years. Even they are changing their perspective. They don't expect people to spend their life in their companies. Life expectancy of Fortune 1000 firms is less than 15 years. So Fortune 1000 are the largest companies in US. And you would say that they are the strongest company, so they would have a long life. No, their expected life is only 15 years. That is how the things are changing. 83% of the companies believe that they will have open careers within 3 years. Only 19% say they have a structured career, which means that open careers, you can start anywhere, you can finish anywhere. The company do not have a plan for a long-term career. So very less and less structured career. So even it's difficult, even if you are gainfully employed, you are happily employed, it is very difficult to really project or plan your career for the rest of your life or your career. It's challenging. So one message coming from this slide from Deloitte is that there is a lot of uncertainty. So we are living in a VUCA world. So good news, life is increasing expectancy. But look, dilemma is that at the same time, millennial probably would live 100 years. And I expect you people would live at least 80, 85 years based on the quality of life. And if you retire, even the retirement age like 60, 65, what is your plan to do for 25 years when you would be retired? 25 years is a long time, quarter of a century. So good news, longer life expectancy. Bad news, corporate careers are shrinking. Even reaching to 60, 65 is hell of a lot of challenge. So after 50 years, it becomes quite challenging for many people to not only to find a new job, but even survive in their current job. All type of pressures really started to show up. So linear career, where you would expect that you will start a career and would have a smooth progress over the period of time, is really rare. It's hard to imagine that those career would happen. It goes, for example, sometimes like this linear, but then something else happens. So more and more careers looks like this. That yes, you start on a good path, make some progress. So on social media, I see that many young people who qualify as chartered accountants or CPA or MBA, they basically make a post that, well, I have finally accomplished big milestone of my life, becoming a qualified chartered accountant. And I smile and I say, okay, now your challenge is really started, because you will find a good opportunity, I hope, because that is also a challenge. But as you move in your journey from the early career to the mid career, challenges are increasing. Or what you're seeing on your screen, the slide, look at the phases. So first phase, introduction, phase of introduction, early career goes normally, smoothly. Phase of growth also goes smoothly for most people, only few have some struggle. But when you enter the phase of maturity, where all of you are, I guess all of our participants here, attendees here, are in the phase of maturity, which is between the age of 30, 35 to 45 or even until 50. That's the main challenging part or phase of the career where many people struggle. So most people stagnate That's also a crisis, that they thought that they will grow continuously towards the top. And now they are not moving anywhere. So that's a problem. But some people really have serious setbacks, like losing their jobs or having a setback that they cannot really get back on the track. And as they get closer to 50, it becomes more and more difficult. So that's the typical career path, which is more common. Now, can we solve it for everyone? Probably not. But as I said, that my focus is on professionals who are quite skilled, quite talented. And there are some tactics, there are some strategies related to career we need to apply. And those people probably could rescue themselves from these type of challenges and crises. So all these issues, even if you have a job today, well-paid job, the fear of job security is always there on all professionals. And that fear of job security is real, because it's real. It's not related to your performance only. Mergers, acquisition, downsize, upsize, right size, wrong size, things are happening very fast. I mean, who thought that companies like Facebook and Twitter would carry out big layoffs? We always thought that technology companies are doing very well and they're only growing. What do these people do now? So fear of job security is real, which means that most of us live in stress, which impact not only our health and personal life, but impact our performance. So something need to take place here. So it's a VUCA world. We all know it, right? We have all accepted that it's not much going to change. That's a new reality we need to accept. It's a VUCA world, it's a brutal world, it's an unfair world. I think that's the good message you need to digest or accept, because that will make your life easier. If you are, many young people or people in their career journey complain that, look, this is not fair, this is not right, I'm doing all that. I say, look, accept first that the world is unfair. That will make it a lot more easier for you to fight it back. And it's brutal. And you will get your share no matter what. So what you could do is prepare yourself. Don't complain. Try to make it correct. Try to do whatever you could do to fight it back and get what you deserve. That is the strong message from my side, even before going into the detailed argument about what we need to do, what we cannot do. So current business environment, this is generalizing the big picture. First of all, is become very, very competitive. As I said, that no matter what industry, wherever you see, it's highly, highly competitive. All businesses are fighting back with cutthroat competition. A blood war is going on in the business arena, I would say. Growing economic concerns. It used to be that there are recessions, there are good times, economy is booming. Now there are always economic concerns. Good time, bad time, there are always pressures, uncertainty. New business model has become the major threat. Nothing else. Even not technology, because technology would be available to everyone. But when one company comes with a unique business model, and business model is not only for new technology, you take available technology, you take available business model, you take available processes, and you create a new combination, which is workable. That becomes a new business model. And in any market, more and more new businesses models are being introduced every day. And that is the main threat to any business. That if someone comes with a better idea, Elon Musk, I don't know whether he would really change or transform Twitter, but he has a reputation really doing something which other people cannot do. That has become a threat for other businesses in that market. Rapid introduction of new technology, of course, but not many people are aware of it, and not many people believe that there is a talent war going on. You would say, look, I have a lot of people around jobless. There is no shortage of candidates. There is a lot of talent. Why employers are desperate to get the talent? So here we need to understand that what is talent, what is not talent. Yes, true. There are a lot of candidates available in the market who want to get a job. That is not what employers are looking for. As businesses are getting competitive, as new technologies are coming, as businesses are having new business models and new ideas, they need more talented people. More talented people. I'll explain that more in detail shortly. But this is a hidden area. People don't know. But the people or the candidate or the talent who is in demand, they are getting multiple offers because this is the type of the talent employers are desperate to get it. So overall, business environment like this. Talent demand and supply. So more layoffs, more job seekers. So what is happening? While you may hear the news that there are many jobs, employers are not able to find candidates. But look, we are talking about the executive category. We are talking about the people like you who are in the mid-level and they want to make progress to the C-suite. In that category, executive category, there are more layoffs and there are more job seekers because it's become difficult to get back if you once lose it. Talent supply is segregating into two segments. Here is the answer. There are traditional job seekers with traditional skill set, and then there are high in demand professionals with up skill set. Now, these are clearly two segments which you can see in the market. Now, of course, you could see the traditional job seekers with traditional skill set who are struggling, but there is a hidden portion of the talent. It's called professionals in demand, and I'll tell you who those candidates are and what is their profile. Businesses becoming more choosy for acquiring talent. So whenever there is an opportunity, they want to get or acquire the best of the best talent, not an ordinary candidate. As a matter of fact, there is an estimate that in executive category, all the open jobs, all the hidden jobs as we call it, 1/3 of the hidden jobs are basically for the replacement position. Replacement positions are those where already an incumbent working, a CTO or a chief accountant or someone is already working, and management or the business leadership is not happy with that talent and they want to replace that talent. So they think it's a risk to continue with that level of talent. So discreetly, secretly, they are working with an executive recruiter to find a better candidate, a better talent in the market to replace this one. Now, those positions, of course, are not announced and are not known because they are to be worked very high level of confidentiality. That is how desperate the businesses are. So they are very choosy in terms of the quality of talent. And mainly hiring is happening through recruiters, executive recruiters, search firms, or their high-level executive recruiters, networking, or employee referrals. So these are the things that employee referral work very effectively, networking, and executive recruiter or search firms. They don't hiring directly anymore, that they advertise and they interview. Age discrimination is increasing, no matter what, no matter all the legal protections and all these ethics, but in reality, age discrimination is increasing, and you have to really think of it carefully about wherever you are, about yourself. How would you deal with it? And people are retiring early. People are accepting that, okay, if they don't have any financial pressures, they could afford, they will say, okay, I'm going to stop working now and see in 2 years what I need to do. And second career also becoming common because people who are willing to retire or leave work right now doesn't mean that they would sit idle rest of their life. They want to do something else which is more close to their passion and their life. So new rule of the games. Highly competitive market, job seekers, highly competitive. And I think those of you who are in the job market, they understand it. They realize that yes, it's highly competitive. And more hiring through networking, as I said, no jobs are posted actually in that category, hardly any, because even if you see some jobs in the executive category which are posted on a public job board, there is high probability that they are really not real. They are old jobs which are already filled or they are closed, but that does not work. High demand for soft skills and attitude. Employers are not looking for degrees and certifications anymore. They are looking for attitude. Their willingness to do whatever they want them to do, or soft skills. That's what really matters. Technology has become a common denominator. So it's no more about IT department. You cannot say that, look, I don't work in IT or I work in IT. Every industry and every domain, finance, marketing, sales, supply chain, R&D, they all have now a portion of technology. So you cannot say that because I'm not an IT person, I don't know IT. You need to have the basic literacy. In fact, more than basic literacy of technology, especially related to your sector, your industry, and your sector where you work. So don't forget that part. Very important. Talent is assessed based on the ability to upskill and reskill. So employer understand that. That look, if I'm hiring this person as a Python developer, and if in 2 years the Python is gone, then what do I do with this person? So they want to hire a talent or a skill which has the ability to learn themselves and change their talent skill set rather than employer to get worried about. So simply by showing your willingness that you are willing to learn for the rest of your life, you become qualified for certain roles. And shift in focus from education and experience to skills is very obvious. It's very obvious. I'll show you some numbers to prove that. So the big factor is hidden job market. Everybody talks about it, but where is that hidden job market? Because many of you will say, I don't see it anywhere. Does it really exist, or is just about talking about it? Let me show you a few things. So this is a survey by a top 10 search firm, and this is what they found out based on their sample. Internal promotions were about 15% in a certain category for a certain duration of time. 15%, big number, internal promotion. Executive search firms are used for 26% of the roles. That's also a big number. As I said, executive search firms are busy finding talent. Job advertisement, only 6%. That's the posting of the job boards. Social media also take into the category of advertisement, only 4%. Own network, which means the candidate knows already a lot of people, decision makers, CFOs or C-level people. That's also a big number, 36% for those people to get the job. In-house recruiter, 6.6%, and other 7%. So what does it tell you? Look at this number again carefully. There are hardly less than 10% jobs which are posted. If you're really relying, you said that, look, I don't have any network. I don't know anyone who could help me, but I could just go on LinkedIn and look at the job boards and apply, and as much as possible I could apply. You are basically tapping less than 10% of the market. What is your chance to get a reasonable job in due course of time? So in the job market, what is happening? Those less than 10% jobs that are advertised, they are chased by 90% of the candidates. 10% of the jobs which are advertised, chased by 90% of the candidates. That's why it becomes a battle. If you are in that market, you are struggling, rightly so. But look at the hidden job markets that comprise 90% of the jobs, and that is chased by 10% of the candidates, which are high in demand. You just keep the number in your mind, 10 to 90%. 1/3 of the openings are confidential searches for replacement. So incumbents are already there and employer want to change, bring some new talent. Average search takes about 6 months, so it's very expensive for the employer. 90% employee referrals result in interview. That's a hidden treasure if you have not tapped into it. So if you target a company, and you know that there are jobs, and you identify someone at the junior level, not C-level or CFO, even at the junior level, but a full-time employee of the company, and you have a relationship with that employee, and if you ask that employee to make a referral for you, there is 90% chance that decision maker would invite you for interview. That's an obligation, right? Because the employee is a trusted part of the organization. Even a junior employee, they refer someone, and it becomes an obligation for the hiring manager to at least entertain by asking the candidate to come for interview, and that becomes your opportunity if you are the one, that candidate. So this is the red ocean and blue ocean, as I call it. So what is happening in the red ocean? Let's look at that. In red ocean, few advertised jobs. Most job seekers even not qualified for those jobs. So if there are 90% candidates chasing 10% jobs, of course, whether they are qualified or not, they want to pursue their opportunity. Many jobs posted are old or not authentic. Job applications are handled through bots or junior level admin. So even if you could be a good candidate, your chances are slim because at the gatekeeper's level, you may be screened out. Getting an interview or job offer has become equivalent to winning a lottery. It's not that you are qualified and you would get an interview. It's just a lottery, just sheer luck that if you could get an interview call. In the blue ocean, what is happening? All hidden jobs are here. Candidates are searching through referrals, word of mouth, or networking. These are not advertised, which means that there are no big supply of candidates who chase them. Through referrals and word of mouth and networking, only few candidates show up. So there is a big difference in the number of candidates available. Less competition for qualified candidates. So, and this is by design. Hiring managers do not want to see 100 or 500 resumes if the job is posted. Typically, if the job is posted on a public job board, in 24 hours, there would be hundreds of resumes. Who is the time or who want to go through that? So hiring manager says, look, I don't want 100 of candidates or resumes. I need maybe 20, 30 good candidates, which I would go through and find the right candidate. Finally, 2, 3 candidates, the final candidate. That's all I know. So they say, okay, instead of going to advertise job boards, let me search through networks. So easily, if they post internally in the company, they go to a network like a CPA network or chartered accountant network, they would easily find good candidates to evaluate and find the right candidate among them. That's a blue ocean. Networking, personal contacts play a vital role in getting interviews. So it's not about getting a job, it's about getting interviews. And I always say, look, in the job hiring, finding process, you need to clearly identify two part of your process. Number one, getting a job is one process, and getting an offer is the other process, and both have very different dynamics. So key mindset, what you need to first start with yourself. What you need to change your thinking or change your beliefs to play in the blue ocean. Position yourself as the top candidate. So develop confidence, which means that don't think that, look, because I don't have a job, so I'm a mediocre candidate or I'm not that qualified. Try to become among the top 10% candidate and do what you need to do to make that positioning, and remove the hat of job seekers. Now, this is a brutal reality. Many people are not able to accept it. Ask any recruiter, and 90% of the recruiter do not want to go to job seeker. They want to go to their ideal candidate are those who are happily working on a job without looking for a job change. Those are the ideal candidates. Even employers want to hire those people. It's a brutal reality. It's unfair. Of course, it's unfair. So what you could do if you are a job seeker, don't try to declare that you are looking for an opportunity, looking for a job. At your level, if you are a mid-career finance professional and you lose job somehow, never show on your resume or your profile that you are jobless and looking for an opportunity. Try to do that. You are still doing something. You are doing a consulting job. You are teaching someone. You are working on a part-time job, but you are doing something. It's not a desperate call for you to find a job today and tomorrow. It could be reality, but you don't need to show it to the hiring managers and recruiters, because that would slim your chances of really being called for interview. So that what you could do, reposition, rebrand yourself, and look, start thinking like an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs have a lot of uncertainty. They always prepare, they always get ready for uncertain or difficult times. So job is not a guarantee that you would always have good time. Job is like being entrepreneur. Develop that mentality. So there are plenty of jobs. There are enough jobs that you can find a job from them. Your next employer is already searching for you. Believe me, trust me. It's only a matter of time. So don't lose hope. You need 80% change in mindset and 20% shift in tactics. Because if you don't change your mindset, you won't be able to apply those tactics I'm going to share with you. So first you start with your mindset and then see what you could do based on my advice. So where are the jobs? If you look by structure through industry, private equity is always hiring people, private equity firms, because that is their business model. They acquire businesses in trouble who are sick units, bring the best of the best people from the market, and let them make those good profitable units. They're always looking for people. Fast growing companies always looking for new people. Startups always looking for good experienced talent. If you have good experience, look for startups. And your competitor, if you have an industry experience, there is still a good demand with your competitors. Check with them if they have new openings. To target these companies, these are not the only company you can target, but I'm saying these companies have much higher probability and chances of really having open positions for you that would fit you. And newly acquired or merged companies, they might let go a lot of people, but they're still looking for some very high level of talent to be deployed in the company. Job search, if you are working with a recruiter or you want to work with a recruiter, what you need to do, search recruiting firms in your industry. Now, top level search firms, they work either with the function or with the industry. So there might be recruiters who only work with CFOs, or there might be industries who only work with the retail industry or oil and gas. So find out the company which suits your profile or your background, and try to identify the individual partners or executive recruiters. As I said, that they work individually, they have a certain portfolio, and they only work with those type of candidates. If you are trying to approach someone who is not of your industry or not your function, you're wasting your time and their time. So do some research and find out the right partners and executive recruiters. Now, LinkedIn is still very resourceful. You need to work on LinkedIn to reach those recruiters and partners. So there is a LinkedIn dating process. You could watch one of my YouTube videos somewhere in my channel. Follow that process. And your goal in this case is to be within their first level of connection. Whether they have jobs or not, don't worry. Somehow develop a relationship to a level where at least they will accept your connection request. Once you become their first level connection, keep assured that anytime a position comes up, a role appears, they start to look first in their first level network. So every time they have a position, they will start with their first level network where you are already there. If you have suitable profile, probably you have high level of chances to be approached by them. That is how two times I was approached by Corn Ferry because I was in their database. Job search strategy. So try to identify 20 to 30 target companies in your desired sector, industry or whatever sector, and then search in your first level connections if there is any employee in that company. So this is a LinkedIn process you need to do. Identify target positions you want to connect. So through internal, we are talking of hidden positions now, which are not advertised. So you first target companies, private equity or high growth companies, and then try to find who is in this company, even a junior level employee. Once you find them and you can talk to them, then use them to find out if there are any roles which are open or positions which are open. That is how you at least get the information about hidden jobs. It could be decision makers, senior level, it could be door openers. As I said, that if there is a junior level person working in the company, they could be door opener. They would just, if you ask them to pass on your resume to an open role, they will do it for you. And they would be entertained by their senior management. And if you cannot find, then identify a common connection in LinkedIn. So you are trying to reach Amazon and there is no one in Amazon you know, then you search in your first level connection and see who knows anyone. So keep on secret in your mind. In LinkedIn, it's not about your first level connection. Your opportunities will come from the second level connections, which means that you want to reach someone in Amazon. You look at your first level connection, there are 1,000 people, and 1,000 people, you find an Amazon employee who is not their your first level connection, but their first level connection. So now you will ask your first level connection to please connect me with this Amazon employee who is your second level connection. And with that introduction, probably they would accept your request and they will become your first level connection and ultimately realize or materialize into some opportunity about the hidden road. So that's a different topic and subject about LinkedIn, how you need to work. But I'm just giving you a glimpses that what LinkedIn could do for you. Once connected, you need to start the conversation. It's hard work. That's a reality. Even if you're employed, you need to use LinkedIn regularly to keep your network active and alive. So one common question is that, can you change the industry? Of course you can. Some people have a belief that no, if you have spent 5-10 years, forget about changing the industry. No, you can change it. So one example from the GE to Home Depot. So Bob Nardelli, that is a little long time ago when a celebrity CEO, and he was retiring, and there was a big competition going on internally to replace him. And Bob Nardelli was in the line as a candidate to replace Jack Welch, but he did not get the chance, and someone else got. So immediately he got an offer from Home Depot. Now look at the industry, GE and Home Depot, completely entirely to different industry. Bob Nardelli has no idea about the retail market or Home Depot business, but he was senior executive vice president, next second line of the CEO. He knew leadership very well. He has a lot of talent, soft skills. He understands business models. So he got acquired by Home Depot, of course, at a very exorbitant level of salaries, and he survived there for 3, 4, 5 years. Change industry, right? I myself, at one point of time in my career, made industry change. That was right in middle of my career, from Philips, a manufacturing company, to Wells Fargo, a bank, right? Because the way I presented myself, Wells Fargo at that time were having a big mortgage processing centers. And there were thousands and thousands of people working and processing documents under one roof. And they wanted to learn from manufacturing processes, Six Sigma mainly. There was mention of Six Sigma on my resume. I was even not certified, but I understand the process and I could talk about it. So they see Six Sigma on my resume, and they said they hired me because they thought that I could use my Six Sigma experience and knowledge into their mortgage processing center. That's how I changed the industry. So key here is that you need to identify what you have in your skill set, even if you worked in different industry, and how could you apply those skill set to this new industry or new business model. So you could always do that. It's a little challenging, but it's possible. That's one thing about the industry. Yes, you can change the industry. Then narrow down on where the opportunity is. A lot of industries are growing, a lot of industries are declining. Healthcare, transportation, financial services, technology, e-commerce, they are growing industry, which means there is more chances for you to find an opportunity. At the same time, there are industries which are dying. You need to be aware of that. Why telecommunication, manufacturing, newspaper publishing, DVD, games, video post-production services, a lot of different type of activities and industries are dying. If you are in one of those industries, you need to be worried about it, and you need to see that how you are going to transform your skill set into some new high growth industries. Another thing which is happening, let me ask you a question to trigger this discussion. What do you think? Which industry, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, or Apple is? Which industry? Because they are doing all type of things. Google used to be a software company. They are now making hardwares, marketing. Amazon is doing everything imaginable. So there is a big trend going on of convergence of industry into something, right? So think that there used to be industry like media, computer, telecom, consumer electronics, or companies like Apple and Amazon. They are merging together. They are becoming new industries. So don't limit yourself by the definition of an industry. You say that because I've always worked in textile, which is dying, what do? I cannot work in any industry. Well, you have the skill set. You have the skills which are transferable. You need to present them, position yourself in a way that you become attractive to these converging industries. Who are the people working in these industries? These industries do not have any past history. So of course, people are coming from other industries. You need to present and position, brand yourself accordingly. So that's one opportunity. Industry. You could look for the converging, emerging industries, or you could look at the growing industries, and you could change the industry. That's one opportunity. Second opportunity, look at these C-level roles. We are talking about C-suite roles. CMO, CEO, CIO, CEO, CRO, CFO, CTO, whatnot, right? A lot of roles are emerging and growing. Many companies are hiring C-level positions first time. CTO speech, for example, there were not many CTOs. They were the head of the IT department. Now they are hiring CTOs. Not only that, there is also a trend of creating new roles you not have heard before. Chief People Officer, Chief Culture Officer, Chief Happiness Officer, right? There is a happiness minister in UAE, Chief Green Officer, Chief Experience Officer, blah, 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 right? Where these people are coming from? Who are the people who are holding those? Because there is no previous experience. These positions are newly defined, but someone is able to position themselves, market themselves with their skill set to be a good candidate for these roles. So folks, C-level is an opportunity. Even if you think that you have not worked in C-level outside your industry, if you are in finance, you always thought only of CFO. But look, a lot of opportunities are coming up in the related industry. I know a couple of CTOs who don't have any technical background. CIO or CTO, Chief Information Officer or Chief Technology Officer. I know those people. They don't have any technical background, but they have good leadership skills. They could manage a group of people very well. They understand strategy. They could talk to the CEO or the boardroom. I know one CFO who does not have a finance background. One CFO. It's possible. So you need to think that, look back if you are really struggling wherever you are in your career. Look back, take an inventory. What you have done so far. What are your skill set? How could you reposition and reconfigure your skill set to do something different? Do something based on the opportunity available. It's not that if you always have been a controller and accountant, you can only do accountant role in the future. No. You don't need another degree or certification. You just need to demonstrate your soft skills. This slide is also from Deloitte or one of the big four. What it is showing. So look at the three pictures carefully. On the left side, there is an organizational diagram like this, right? So it's pyramid. As you go on the top, there are few people. As you go at the bottom, there are more people, right? Because of all the pressures, the organizations change. And what you see in the middle, they slim down. They remove a lot of fat from the bottom. There are less people are working, right? But it's still a pyramid shape. What you see on the right side, the third picture, is quite different. What is that? This is also an org chart. What it is showing, there of course on the top there is few people, one or two. At the bottom there are also few people, but there is some fat on the upper side. Next to the top level, there are more people. Who are those people? Those are the people who are at the C level or the director level or the VP level. Businesses have realized they don't need a lot of people, but they need many talented people. So they have created positions, expanded roles at the senior level, directors, VPs, C level, and that is what you see in this third picture, that from the top it's expanding, widening, and then narrowing down again. Let's talk about finance, because most of you are finance. Future finance organizations, one CFO of course, but there is an office of CFO. Office of CFO has 5-6 senior level people like him, because one CFO cannot take the burden and responsibility alone based on the expectation of this role is coming up. So CFO need 4-5 people in the office of CFO, which are very close to the level of CFO. Could you fit one of those roles? And same for marketing, other functions, same for other industry roles, different industry. So you need to think out of box. Don't think that what you have been doing, that is what you need to do or you will do in your life. World is changing. World is changing, you need to change. When you change, things will change for you. What are the main responsibility for C-suite? All the titles we looked just before, what are their talent or skills required? Leadership, decision making, goal setting, team building, conflict management, etc., policy making, etc., etc. They are being hired not for their functional knowledge. Functional knowledge is not required. What is required is leadership skills. The couple of CTOs I mentioned, they doesn't matter that if they don't have technical skills, because there are a lot of people available to them. Look, practical example from my career. When I was CFO in different companies, I never really worried or cared about learning all the IFRS thing. That was not my area. I was not interested. But I did not hesitate to ask my controller to give me that information or advice if I needed. My focus was the strategy. I wanted to spend more time with my CEO and the board to really understand and get involved with the strategy. IFRS is not my focus. So even if you go to a head of another function, you don't need those functional knowledge. You need only leadership and strategy. There are other people, there are next level of directors, VPs or controllers who could always give you, or if not, you can always hire from the market. Those are the hard skills. Those are not the soft skills. Companies are looking for the talent with soft skills, which are hard to develop in short term. If you demonstrate that you have those skills, and those skills are long lasting, those skills are not like Python. They're not going to be obsolete in 2 years. Your leadership skills, your communication, your strategic thinking, they are not going to be obsolete, at least in the foreseeable future or your lifetime, right? So why not invest in those skills which are in more demand, more rewarding, more payoff than the skills then which may die very soon. Food for thought. Another list of showing top 10 emerging C-suite soft skills. What are those? Design thinking, strategic management, adaptability, complaint management, data governance. Data governance could be a little technical. Customer satisfaction. Can you learn these skills? Yes, you can. And you don't need to go back to the school or university to learn these. You can learn in your casual time. But these have a lot of value. So here is a few numbers. What is happening with the education? As I said, that because it's comparative. Some people think that education is more important. Some people think skill is more important. So here are the facts. Since 2019, there has been a 20% increase in managers hired without a 4-year degree. 20% increase last 2 years. In 2021, the US saw a 21% increase in job listings that advertised skills and responsibilities rather than qualification. This you could witness yourself. Go and find out the job posting from Amazon, from Apple, from those level of companies, and you will see they are not listing any degrees anymore. They just make, even if they mention, they only mention preferred, not required. Required are always the skills they are listing. That's one trend very clearly you can see. This is another number or statistics available. For-profit 4-year college drop in enrollment. They're not talking about the accountants. They're talking about the college enrollment. Dropping for a reason. It's not happening today or yesterday. Happening for the last 10 years, 12 years. Look at this chart. That's the going forward trend. Education sector is not waking up any sooner. So this is not going to change any sooner. And you are in charge of yourself. This is from the World Economic Forum. When they recommended in their future of job reports 2 years ago, 2020, they did not listed a list of the degrees and certificates you require to make your future better. They only listed the skills. And this is what they think. 40% people require reskilling and 50% need reskilling by 2025. So not far away. And look, one mistake people do, they say, okay, I have to learn these soft skills, communication, talking, leadership, emotional intelligence, etc. And they focus only inside the company. That's limiting your potential. You need to look all the stakeholders, internal and external, based on your job, based on your role. If you have connection with customers, that also counts. Your ability to communicate effectively with the customers, or shareholders, or suppliers, or creators. One of my students who did the CFO strategy program with me, I think that was 18 or 17. He got a job. He was on an analyst job in Dubai, and he got a job in Qatar, CFO level in a company. Uh, and he was basically was hired based on his soft skills, which were very good. In last 3 years, he has to deal with a lot of government agencies in Qatar, and well, it was first time experience, but he went through it and did very good job. Now he is in high demand because that's an skill. In Qatar, or even in Middle East, entire Middle East, recruiters and hiring managers are looking for the people who have the experience and the confidence and the skills to talk with the government, for example. So don't forget external stakeholders when you think of the soft skills. So another slide, why C-suite? Look at that, what required, what is not required. Let me briefly go through it. So no technical knowledge is required for C-suite role across any function. No technical knowledge or expertise required because there are other people who could help you with that. It could be preferred but not required. No professional certification is required. No academic degree is required. You do not need to be an extraordinary functional expert. No specific experience required. What is required? A reasonable level of functional expertise, outstanding leadership skills, outstanding, high level of emotional intelligence, a deep insight in business strategy, and excellent command on communication skills. I think all of you have what is shown on the right side. Another advice, when you look for those skills, don't try to become a specialist or a generalist. That's another question comes up. That what should I do? Should I really become a specialist in certain areas or become a generalist? Well, the new trend or the new demand is somewhere in the middle. If you really want to target a C-suite role, which is in a new industry, which is in a new sector, or is a different type of role you have not done before, you need to strike somewhere in the middle, and that is called versatilist. Versatility, not a specialty or generality, but versatility, which means that you need to have some technical knowledge, some general knowledge, and you have to demonstrate your ability to work in different situations, work in different environment, work with different people. That is what is in demand. So you create most value. At the two skill, like you're creating value, you're creating differentiation, you strike right in the middle. And when you focus on versatility, your ability to work different roles, then you become most valuable. And don't forget, finally, about the internal opportunity. That's a fourth area. Many people who are working, but somehow they lost interest in their current employer, they have tussle with the boss or other people, and they completely write off any potential in the internal potential with that company and start looking outside. Don't make that mistake. Most of the time, there are a lot of opportunities inside. Work or fix or repair your relationship with the management or with your boss and look for those opportunities. Internal opportunities are easiest to tap, easiest to cash, easiest to materialize. Don't write it off. So what is your career strategy? Very simple. Your career strategy is three things. Your knowledge, which you already have from the past. Your personal brand, it could be there or you need to polish it, reposition it. But your soft skills, if you increase your expertise in your soft skills, you are good to go. Your knowledge is your core expertise. Your brand is your external image or internal image. But your ability to execute is your soft skills. But that is how you execute. Look at this slide and think of it. Are you a gold coin or you are a currency note? As a professional, as someone in the market, who are you? And if you are a gold coin, which means you have talent and skill which is intrinsic, which is wherever you are, whether you are in your home country or in Middle East or you go to another country, Canada and USA, you have that talent you can apply in any different situation. But if you are a currency note, you have certain endorsement, You may have a chartered accountant certification, you may have an MBA degree, and you have other things. So those things are basically endorsement about your talent and skill. So or maybe you are a CFO already holding position. When you hold a position, that also becomes an endorsement, an authentication, and verification of your talent. So of course that's important. I'm not saying that's not important. But what if you have intrinsic value? Look at Elon Musk. Elon Musk, wherever he go, people know that he would create tremendous value. What is his talent? I don't know what degree or certification he has, but he has a lot of talent. Ability to work in difficult conditions, take unrealistic tasks and make it happen, make it realize, right? So think of your talent as intrinsic. That if you don't even you don't have any degrees and certification and position and titles to demonstrate as verification, what you could demonstrate, maybe you are very good in communication, maybe you are very good in storytelling. When you talk in the interview, it comes out very clearly that you are a very good communicator, you could influence people, or maybe your ability to negotiate is very high. Maybe you are very good in the teamwork, maybe you are a good motivator the teams. What is that soft skill which will enhance your intrinsic value, right? Ask that question and look back. So our life, you can split it into two parts. First part of life, before we start our job or career, we spend learning, knowledge building. 18, 20 years, we are building our knowledge, going through the education system, college, university, school, and developing knowledge. So by the time we are ready to start our career, we have a lot of knowledge dumped on our mind, right? And then we start the second part of life, which is basically our career or business. What is the big difference? In the first part, we are focused to learn, develop, accumulate knowledge in our minds. The second part, we are required to execute that knowledge. And the difference in executing and building up, when we were learning, we required a good level of IQ. If you had a good IQ, you were a good student, you had good grades, good, you are ready to go. But in work and employment and business and career, IQ is required, but not only IQ. You need to, major difference is, you need to work with people. You need to work with people. There are hardly any positions where you could work in isolation. You need to work with people. And to work with people effectively, you need different skills. Unfortunately, none of those skills are taught in our education system. Emotional intelligence, relationship, team building, nothing is taught. Even today, even in the MBA program, emotional intelligence is not taught. But we are expected to do a marvelous job working with people. Now, some people are naturally good. They make good progress in their career. Most people struggle. Rightly so. We were never trained in emotional intelligence or communication or conversation skills or influence or whatnot. That's the main drawback of our whole life system today. The other dilemma is that this chart is from Harvard University. What it is showing is very simple but very powerful. What it is showing, the green line, which is declining, or blue line, this shows our brain's ability to change in response to experience. As we go through the life, we need to make changes, we need to learn, we need to upgrade, we need to meet different challenges. But as we grow in age, it declines. At the same time, the orange line, which is going up, is the amount of effort required to make those changes. You see the break even somewhere in the age of 29. At the age of 29, our ability to change, our effort required break even. They cross each other. Why are we learning here at the age of 40? Because we need to bring more effort. We don't stop learning, but we need to bring more effort. So you are sitting in this webinar. This webinar is an extraordinary effort on my part and your part to really learn something new. So learning would continue as long as you bring more effort. Bring effort means that in this chart, notice one thing. As you move through your life, one thing is reducing and shrinking. What is that? The most important thing is your time. Your time is given, your time is fixed, but it is reducing as you go through the life journey, which becomes, if it is reducing and shrinking, it becomes more and more valuable. every next hour, every next day, every next year becomes more valuable for you because it's reducing. So you need to use it very wisely, very carefully, right? Which means that you don't have the luxury to go to school for 10 years, go to college for another 4 years, go to university for another 4 years, and spend 18, 20 years to develop and get ready to do your career or your business. Now you are already in the business, you are already in the career. And not only that, time is shrinking, but you have other obligations, family obligations, parents, neighbors, social obligations, kids. So it becomes more challenging how to really cope with all those things. And we have all agreed that yes, this process is not lifelong. It's not ending when we start career. In order to survive in this world, we need to continue our learning. But as you see, going forward, more and more challenges are only increasing, right? So let me take another 10 minutes to wrap up, and then we'll move to the question answer. So what we call our performance or our external performance is basically related, it starts with our beliefs and mindset. If you have a belief and mindset, that create certain activities or habits which ultimately result into our performance or outcome, right? In our brain, there's a little science we need to understand to really understand how brain works. So in brain, we have billions and billions of neurons or neurological pathways. They keep changing with our activities, with our behavior. So as you change your, so when you start learning driving, initially it is very challenging, right? But if you continue consistently, you notice that it's becoming easier and easier. You started to learn swimming, you started to learn guitar. Initially it is difficult, then it becomes better. What happens that with repetitive activities, our brain started to change the neurological pathways. These pathways in the brain change and they reform. When they reform, they make it easier for us to really perform those habits or those activities better. That is how this is called brain plasticity. Brain is plastic. Brain could be molded based on what we do repetitively and consistently. So when you do something with intention and focus, it creates faster change. Emotional engagement, when you have some emotions, when you have some social pressure, things changing. In this picture, you see that what you see on the surface, like on the top, attitude, performance, communication, behavior, personality, they're all because of our beliefs, our knowledge, our self-awareness, our empathy, our emotional intelligence, etc., etc. So at this age, at this matured adult age, learning is a little difficult. And you need to create a system which is workable for you. It's not like school kids that every day you go for 6 7 hours and then you can learn something. First of all, you don't have the time. You have little time you could afford to spend on learning and training, and you need to be very smart over there, right? So if you look around, you will find people in two situations. Either they are in the comfort zone. I know all I need to know and I'm good to go. Or there are people who would realize that no, things are changing very fast and I need to really find a learning zone. I'm in learning zone. I'm willing to learn. Or the people who are not in the learning zone, one day or soon they will find themselves into the panic zone. So if you are not in the learning zone and you are in the comfort zone, you may directly land into panic zone. Don't make it a situation for you. Now, uh, Daniel Goleman, who is an expert in emotional intelligence, has said that look, the learning process for adults and kids is very different. You cannot apply the same way or same methodologies like kids going to school for 6 7 hours. You are giving lecture and they're learning. Kids learn that way very well, but adults require a different framework or different methodology. And what he says that when you are a matured adult, it takes longer for you to digest new ideas. So you go to 2 days training, and 2 days, 6 hours, 6 7 hours, you are dumped with the knowledge, and then you come back and they say that you have learned something. Well, what happens? that you have definitely developed some additional knowledge, but you have not learned anything. And if you don't do anything as a follow-up, all those circuits in the brain which have changed because of the new information goes back to the original condition. So we need a framework, we need a modality how to learn effectively in adult age, because we don't have much time. So in traditional, so looking back all the ideas I have shared with you so far, the bottom line and conclusion is that yes, there are challenges, but there are opportunities. But those opportunities would not cash itself, would not materialize itself. You need to do some work, and you are capable of doing that work. And that work is not really impossible or difficult. Going back to college school, you can learn on your own in your spare time with your continuing job or continuing activities as a mature adult. So people think that, look, if I go to a training or program, probably that would change my situation. So 2 day, 5 day, or 2 weeks information. These are traditional training is information dumping session, because they bring you outside work and they give you lectures after lectures after lectures, and you get a certificate and you feel happy that you have learned something new. And no practice or coaching for skills is done. So there is no structure in these trainings. These are standalone, no continuity. So you go to an emotional intelligence for 2 days and you come back and you don't know what you have learned after 2 weeks. So isolated events, no accountability or measurement. Most trainers are really not industry trained. And business school could offer a good quality education, but they are too expensive. So I want to show you what we have done at Mecca to address those challenges. So everybody nowadays is talking about transformation. Transformation is a difficult process. It's complicated and requires a lot of effort. And people go to 2 days training and they definitely get some additional knowledge that creates some awareness and maybe little understanding, but that is where they stop. To go through the transformation, you need to really work hard on those information and with a lot of other people to practice it, change your values, value understanding and belief, and then apply it, and then it started to create some transformation. So let me show you current methodology, current curriculum of the strategic CFO program. But this is not done today or tomorrow, yesterday. We have been working for the 5-6 years. We are starting batch 14 for the strategic CFO program, and batch 14, which means that with every batch, we have learned some new things and we have reapplied and improved the process. So what you are seeing here is basically after the 13 iterations, 13 batches have gone through it, what we have learned, we have tried to fit into it. So first of all, it's a 12-month program. We could easily do this program in 3-4 weeks, but we decided to stretch it longer because we understand very well that adult learning requires time, consistency. It requires less duration one time. You don't require to really go through lecture for 2 days, but you require maybe 2 hours, but consistently for 2 months or 6 months. That is what one thing is, 12-month duration. Then you see that every week we meet online, of course, because if you think of traveling for this type of training, forget about it. That's not possible. So online, of course, is very convenient, very economical, and very effective. We have been doing this for 5, 6, 7 years. Every week, Saturday, for 1 year, we meet. We do 2 types of sessions. One is live coaching sessions where I directly talk to the batch participants and take them through different activities. And there are 2 other Saturdays, participants go through the live peer group sessions where they sit with 6, 7, 8 other people and try to practice leadership, communication, negotiation, those type of skills, right? Now, after 10 batches, we realized that I was repeating myself in every new batch with the contents. I said, that's waste of my time, and probably we could add more value for the participants. So all the batches previously we picked the best classes. We had all the recordings, and out of those recordings, we picked the best classes, best recordings, and make it available as recorded modules. So now look at the different type of learning they go through. Before coming to a live session, these participants already go through the recorded modules, which are close to 2 hours of content. 2 hours rather than sitting with me in live session, they are going on their own with their own convenience, whatever time they have. They could review it, repeat it, learn it themselves, right? Then they come into the live session on Saturday. And then I work with them through case studies, through breakout sessions. Most important thing is that it's not about knowledge. What we are trying to develop the skills is their soft skills, their ability to communicate, their ability to negotiate, their ability to present, their ability to storytell. Those things do not happen by reading books, watching videos, or attending 2 days workshop. Those things happen when you consistently practice them for a longer period of time. In this case, you practice those skills every other Saturday, which means that you are doing for 26 weeks. 26 weeks means 24 weeks, which means that if you do it 2 hours every week, you are doing 48 hours of practice over a period of time. Now look at the participants of the previous batches, what change they are bringing. I think this model is working very well. And then look at the contents, what we are teaching over there, what we are learning. Personal leadership, self-awareness, self-empowerment, work-life integration, strategy basics, customer valuation, competitive advantage, emotional intelligence, business models. So we try to address the strategic knowledge, which is very important, and also the leadership skills to execute that knowledge and some part of technology. I'm not saying that this is a perfect model for learning going forward, but this is something which you could look for. Don't waste your time going to the 2 day workshop or spending a lot of time reading books or going for certification or for degrees. You need a very well designed, well crafted system to go through the learning faster. You don't have that much time as you have as a younger students. So recently we have a very good arrangement from Harvard Business School that Mecca CFO Academy. Through that arrangement, we can access to their full teaching library, which means we have access to thousands of case studies, simulations, online courses, and mini courses. So from the last 2 batches, we have started to incorporate those Harvard contents. Previously, they were only taught at the Harvard and some other Ivy League schools. Now at Mecca, we are teaching the same case studies with the same methodology. Not with the case, I picked up the case. They teach me the whole methodology, how as a teacher, I would conduct the case on, Harvard is very well known for case studies. So these participants are getting the flavor of an business school like Harvard. We are left. So based on all the information available at different sources, I try to take a shot. So World Economic Forum, Big Four consulting firms, I took a shot at all those information. I said, what are the top 10 skills for finance professionals which will help them most? And I came up with these 10 skills. These 10 skills from the bottom. Foundational are emotional intelligence, critical thinking, creativity. Then enhancing skills are cultural awareness, cognitive flexibility, adaptability. And external skills are basically storytelling, negotiation, collaboration, and service orientation. What are these skills are telling you basically? These are all in one skill. If you want to combine and see, all these skills we are talking about is about your ability to work with other people. Look at each skill. It's only asking whether you could work with other people, different type of people in different environment with different objectives and challenges. So you start with your knowledge, and knowledge is not enough. That's the main weakness or flaw in the existing training system, that they are only dumping knowledge after knowledge, which is not working. So if you even go to a 12-month program and you only get the knowledge every week and then come back, you are not going to change much. You need to use that knowledge and practice it. Consistent practice for a longer period of time will change your habits, right? When you change your habits, you change your beliefs. The change in beliefs will change your personality, and the change in personality will change your performance. That's basically the formula I wanted to share with you. As I said, You could find any source, any resource where you could learn these skills, but learn these skills with an intention to enhance your ability to work with the people. And keep in mind that it's not about knowledge. Cannot get it through reading books or watching videos. You need to jump into the water. Start with the knowledge, practice it for a longer period of time, so much so that it changes your habits and changes your beliefs and personality and performance.